Hi, welcome back to Three Talking Rabbits. I'm Gail, and this is the Queen of Batons, which we're going to be inking today. This is part of the Patron's Tarot Deck number 2 project. This is I believe she's a Baroness out of, she's in Canada. I don't know if she's an Eldermere or if she is the one over from that. Anyway, very nice lady. Let's see. We're going to start. I like to go this way with the ink, and I think I need to fix those before I ink. But so I'm going to leave that undone until the end. And I do like to start in our background here. And I like to start light. Again, I've got paths going through all of these. She gets like there's a recreated Viking longhouse. So that is actually what this is. I forget what Icelandic area it's in, like near the city, which city it's near. Yeah, words. Words are a thing this morning. It's only like 6 o'clock in the morning. Don't ask me what trees look like in Iceland. I did not look that up. Okay. Now this is just a drawing ink that I'm using. This is the Alabella cat. She's one of mine. She's a total stinker, and I wubs her. She's an outside cat. She's fixed and vaccinated, much to her displeasure, because she loved having kittens, and she was such a good mama. But we do not need more cats. And she fits this card perfectly because she is such a little stinker. Now, I did not do a perfect perspective job on this particular throne. I needed to throw things just a little bit to make it work in terms of the composition. Sometimes that is the case. Alright, so she's got lions on either side. The lions are not perfectly symmetrical. I'm okay with that. I did make them symmetrical, and it just sort of looked weird. So we're going with what looked good. And there is a ton of knotwork in this stuff. And all of those little lines have to make sense with each other. This is probably not the best one for me to be talking with. You'll notice I do not follow or always follow my pencil lines perfectly. That way lays madness. Sometimes I want to adjust something because I don't like the way it looks. Sometimes it's just the way my pen went and we go with the flow. Alright, I'm going to start here. Speaking of going with the flow. So many pretty tats. I don't think I quite got it there. Let's hit that line a little bit harder. There we go. Curves are hard, yo. Especially with a dip pen. I'll have to go back and clean up some of those curves. Like, I'll actually turn the paper when I do it. That's okay, because we got to play with the line weight anyway. And I have her permission to share everything. I had not shared hers up to this point because I was actually saving it for this point. Okay, I'll put that in. Alright, I kind of like that. I'll go around and make that line weight heavier afterwards. I like to get, let's see, this is this one. I like to get the finer lines in first. That one's screwed up. I'm going to have to use the ruler for that. Alright, I think that's got that pretty much fixed. Instead of having just a cutoff on the dais here, I've just extended the boards so that we don't have a weird space down there. And I fixed those, and I'm happier with that. So, come back up here. I got a bunch of templates so that I can work from them for stuff like this. And I'm just going to say mechanical drawing while talking. Like, oh my god. Why did I decide on one that was talking when I've got to do knots? I'm crazy sometimes. Now you get to watch me hopefully not mess up a Celtic knot here. It's like basket weaving, over, under, over, under. Oh, I missed one. I knew I was going to miss it. It's okay. Oh, I'm totally missing it. Oh well. Alright. It is what it is. And we're missing that one too. Erg. Okay. Alright, I gotta draw in my other one more carefully than that, but we'll fix it in the paint. That's going to get a thicker line. I am not going to draw in the other one in ink right now because I want to really dial in those corners. I thought I could do it without, and I was wrong. Now, I could be using a straight edge to draw this in, but this pen really hates the straight edge, and usually it just dumps ink all over the straight edge itself rather than putting it on the paper. So I just go back in and thicken up that line afterwards. Okay. Here we go, Celtic Naughties. I forget what this particular knot pattern is called. There's names for all of them. This thing was a pain and that took us to draw. And it is a modern pattern. It is not a historic pattern. I am not that good at them. So I followed a modern one. It said connect this dot to here, connect this dot to there. The main thing with Celtic knotwork is that you want to make sure that it is like basket weaving where one actually connects to the thing it's supposed to connect to. And you don't have something floating off into, I don't know where this goes, because even if your viewer doesn't really know what you did, they know that something is wrong if it doesn't line up. So it absolutely positively has to make sense. And the rule is over, under, over, under. And once you get good at it, it is, I won't say it's easy, but there's definitely a formula that can be followed. And it makes sense, you know, it's a logical, a fun mathy type thing to do. My math brain really enjoys Celtic knotwork. And I could just use the term knotwork because not all knotwork is Celtic. This one just happens to be Celtic. Some people say Celtic. I'm not sure which is right. Might be like one of those things that's like American versus. Can you speak this morning, Gail? No, I cannot. It is 7 o'clock in the morning. No, I cannot speak. It might be one of those things that is the difference between British and American pronunciation or something along those lines. I don't know. Now I'm not doing a solid line down here because this is supposed to be carved wood. So when you have something that's a relief carving like that, you're not going to see a hard edge everywhere. Okay, here we go. Do it again. Okay, that is not entirely correct, but it's about as close as I can get it at this particular scale. Like I said, I am far from an expert in Celtic knotwork. It'll do. Okay. I have hair on my pen. Alright. Face. Everybody's getting up for breakfast, so there's going to be clanking sounds from the kitchen. If they start having a conversation, I will turn the video off. These are going to be sunflowers. And she gets a sunflower behind her head too. Bangs are fun. Especially raggedy ones like that. I absolutely love drawing them. Can you talk this morning? No. And get her hair in because it's stylized. She does have a braid in the inspiration image. But obviously it does not look perfectly like that because that's not what braids look like. Okay, we've got a toque or torque. I'm not sure how to say that. This is the downside of being a person who reads versus a person who speaks to people regularly. I'm not quite sure how to say certain words. I know how to say I say a lot, don't I? I'm gonna count the ums in my videos someday. I used to edit them out and I got tired of doing that. I don't get enough views to like bother editing out my ums. Sorry. Thank you for being here. Okay, I need to pull up her face in my files so that I can see what she looks like. I could just work from the drawing, but the you know, even though I've refined the tracing and stuff like that, I want to be very careful about what lines I actually put in ink, because not all faces have dark lines, especially women's faces. If you get something too dark on a woman's face in ink, it is sadness. She has very pretty almond-shaped eyes. And just a hint of darkness in her eyebrows. She's got sort of the like brownish eyebrows, so I only want to put a tiny bit of ink in there. I don't want to do a whole lot of ink for her nose because she has a really soft nose. I'm just giving myself enough of a hint of her face shape and stuff like that to, you know what's happening here is we don't have this far enough out. I'm going to give her another, there we go. I think somehow that got lost. Okay, she's got, I think I mentioned how I was delighted that I had people with full cheeks through this whole project. I got all the full cheekies. I am so happy. Not that I mind people who don't have full cheeks. It's just, I just like full cheekies. Okay, women, you can go a little bit heavier on the lower lip than men. Again, with the ink, you don't want to ink in the center part of the lips. That leads to regret, and it makes them look not even cartoonish, just wrong. Because lips are not a value change, they are a color change. Unless somebody's wearing lipstick, and then that's a whole other. Okay. And she has, like me, she has a distinct line between her neck and her chin. That is a characteristic of her face. And I see it in other photographs too. Otherwise, I wouldn't make somebody look double-chinned unless we really needed that line there. And she has a definite line there. And it's not a double chin. It's just the way that the neck, or the bit under the chin meets the neck. Some people have like a crease in their skin folds there. Not everybody does. Okay, the necklace is like, this is a complicated necklace, and I am not going to do everything in this necklace. This is sort of like the scale armor. If you do everything, it's just madness. It doesn't look right. So you just want to give like hints of what it is and then take care of the rest of that in paint. So my friend Elfroon does a lot of studying of jewelry used in Scandinavian countries through the Viking era. And Scadians wear a lot more jewelry than what was worn in period, but of course we're having fun, and jewelry is fun. So I have actually scaled back on her jewelry just a tiny bit. Not enough to not have it look like her, but enough to bring it more in line with historic this right here is actually trim on her tunic, like in real life, but I am going to turn it into a brass armband. Brass, gold, whatever. I don't know what they were made of. This tucked in. These are just fields back here. We'll get the other bits dialed in before we run out of battery. So we need her shoes. She has the coolest shoes. They have like these little tip-up soles on them. Thought those were really neat. And I've made some shoes that have ended up with like pointy toes. It's kind of cool. Okay, so I've finished the light line drawing, and now I'm going to erase the pencil portions of it, and that will allow me to see what I need to do next, because I have to go back in and put in some heavier lines, because her, you know, everything is the same line weight, and that doesn't really look very good, especially because these are coming down to this size right here. They're, you know, it's a quarter size. So I have to go back in and erase my pencil marks, and that will allow me to see anything I missed with the ink, anything that needs to change in line weight, because that pencil can really mask a lot of stuff. Your brain just sort of fills in on that. And the other aspect is that I want these for coloring pages, so I don't want the pencil line cluttering things up on me. So as soon as I'm done with the line work, before I start painting, I'm going to scan all of these things in, and they will become a coloring book, or part of a coloring book. At least that's the idea. Whether it ever happens or not, I don't know. And I'll go back over this one more time and make sure that everything is out of here. Now, when I get to the face, I want to be careful not to erase absolutely everything. Because some of these things I actually need them for the painting, but a lot of them can go away. And in theory, they should not be so dark that they'll interfere with anything I need, but I think that that's about all I can take off the face there. Okay. The gummy eraser is a big friend here because it does not disrupt the fibers of the paper. If I were to use a white eraser on this repeatedly, I might get like sort of a fuzziness on the paper, and this is gentle enough that it doesn't do that. And also, if something is stubborn, I can sort of like roll it back and forth on there And that's a much more gentle lift than with a white eraser. You never want to use a pink eraser on this stuff. Okay, you know what? I see I forgot that line because it was in pencil. I didn't draw it in pen. Okay, I think we're pretty good. And now I can go in and refine those lines. Now I could use a wider nib, but I just actually prefer to have to stop talking while I draw a straight line. I just prefer to go over it a couple different times. So I'm not going to go around this outside circle because that's not actually part of her head, it's part of the throne. What I am going to do is hit the outside of her crown. Because that's going to help pull that off and away from that busy background. And the background won't be so busy in the end because it's all going to be the same color across. It'll just have those the designs in there. But this heavy outline is going to help to separate her out from the background. And we made this very, I'll call it a modern design decision after the first round, after the first deck. Danny, her cards were just so beautiful, and they had this gorgeous graphic quality to them with the heavy black line, and we all just fell in love with it. And so we decided to opt for that. And so it's a little bit more stylized, like modern stylized, than what I normally work in. Do that quite right. That's okay. We'll get it sorted. And sometimes I have to go over them multiple times. Get them in the right place. Talking while I do this is not actually helping me, so. Now, something I really don't want to have happen is I don't want all of these lines to end up the same weight all the way around. Line weight variation is incredibly important for depth. And because I'm making something stylized, I have to be careful that I pay attention to it. I have to be careful that I have to be careful and pay attention. I really want that much thicker there. There we go. Now on areas like the fingers, be very careful not to make them the same all the way around. So I've got the darks on the underside part where the darks are going to be, and that will allow me to put the lights on top of the fingers in the painting. Let's see, shoulder. And of course deciding if I'm going to put the outline on the inside or on the outside of the piece, that's a little bit, that's just a decision that needs to be made. Okay, the cat is black. So there's some decisions that need to be made there, because obviously when you're painting a black cat, you're not making the entire cat black, because it wouldn't look like a cat. But the cat is an important part of the piece. And there are portions of her that I want to have a little bit more heavy line. But I don't want to get too heavy on it because I don't want it to be fighting with our queen here. Okay. Okay, so I think this does it for the line work on the Queen of Batons. And I'm pretty happy with how the line weight looks everywhere. The stick is coming out the way it should be. Her head is coming up off of the throne rather than being eaten by the sunflower plaque and back. Her hands are holding things up away from her body. Her body is sitting up off the chair. Her legs are in front of these little guys. The edge of the throne is coming up away from the background, but it's not fighting with the arms and the body. And, you know, like I'm getting a good sense of where things are in space. So I think that's it. But that is it for right now. Thank you very much for joining me on 3 Talking Rabbits. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos, and I will catch you next time.